We are so glad to see you. Yes, you. Welcome to the Sunday show on LNM Radio Network. We are Broadcast Team Alpha, where we bring you cutting edge conversations while exploring the quantum possibilities. And on Sunday, we get to play here on LNM Radio on the Sunday show. So I'm your co host, Nore Love, along with the renowned Augie Nost and the creative genius, Tom Schaefer. And before we get started with today's show on the universal laws, I wonder if, like, the Universal Law Police, the SWAT team, is standing by to hear about this. Before we get started, I just am going to invite you to connect with us. You can connect with us at broadcastteamalpha.com, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel right there from the website. We would love for you to subscribe to us. And you can also watch and listen to our BTA shows in the archives. And I'm getting a bunch of messages right now, so I'm distracted and I apologize. So I just want to welcome my two co-hosts, Augie and Tom. How are you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Yay, good. So I invited tons of people to call into our show today. So I'm welcoming all the people in the spiritual community, in the law of attraction community, healers and law of attraction coaches, and everybody. You don't have to be in any kind of community in order to have fun with us today. But we're going to be talking about the universal laws. And the universal laws are eternal laws. And they're absolute laws. And they're laws that influence our life, whether we know it or not. And they're not laws like gravity or traffic laws or the civil laws. They're laws that are everlasting. And we're going to specifically talk about law of attraction, which is one of the most powerful laws. So I'm just going to briefly go over the 12 laws so you know that they're there. There's the law of divine oneness, the law of vibration, the law of action, the law of correspondence, the law of cause and effect, the law of compensation, the law of attraction, which we're going to talk about, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, the law of relativity, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm, and the law of gender. So those are the 12 laws. Augie, you have something that you want to enlighten us with regarding the laws?
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
The universal laws, they have in our society, they've been so obscured, but they're not like the Uniform Commercial Code or the United States Code, which is, it can be changed and altered at the whim of the ones that writes the law, and that doesn't happen here. It can be relied on, it's predictable, and it is always constant. But the problem is that a lot of us, we just haven't understood it very well. So it's hard to work with something that we do not understand. And that is something that we're going to try to change today. Nori is a double certified law of attraction life coach. So you couldn't be in better hands than right now today. So gosh, I'm going to hand it to her.
Oh, no pressure. No pressure. Okay. So what is the law of attraction? First of all, I'm going to give kudos and credit out to Abraham Hicks, to Esther Hicks, and Jerry Hicks, who is non-physical, because I fell into the arms of Abraham Hicks back in the 80s, and I was a little bit of a crumpled mess, which was the perfect state for me to be in, because I was really asking. I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to change my life. I wanted to learn how to create the life that I really, really desired. So technically, the law of attraction is that which is likened to itself is drawn, right? Or that which we think about and focus on is what we create. It's the law of deliberate creation. and just suspend your disbelief for one moment to allow the possibility for new information to come in. It's the law of allowing. It's the law of what is my vibration? Whatever my vibration is what I create. It's the law of what I believe and let in, I get. So if you notice in these ones that I made up, there's a lot of what my vibration is, what I believe, what I let in, right? The law of allowing. And it's with everything. I mean, how many times have you set a goal and then got in your own way? It's the same thing with the law of attraction. We say, I want this. And then we forget about it. And then we do the opposite thing of that. And then we gravitate to things that make us feel good and is not in alignment with that amazing thing that we wanted. So we have to focus on what we want, and we have to be attuned to it. So what does that mean? That means if I want to hear what's on the 101 FM radio station and I'm on 89 FM, I'm not going to connect with what I really want to hear. So we have control, if you will, about how we dial our vibration up from 89 FM to 101 FM. And you're probably like, what the heck does this mean? And how can this make sense to me? The secret for me, and this is how it worked for me, is where is my vibration? How am I feeling? If I'm feeling sad, depressed, overwhelmed, angry, bitter, resentful, my vibration is really low and it's far away from whatever it is that I want to create in my life. But if I'm feeling neutral, pleasant, hopeful, joyous, then my vibration is closer to what I want to create in my life. So we have control over how fast or how slow we create this thing that we want in our life based on how we feel. Guys, you have anything you want to add to that with me?
Well, for me, it is so important that we go over this on a regular basis because it's so easy to it's like if we don't hear it enough on a regular basis, we get off track. And I'm so glad you're doing this today, Nori, because it's just, you got to get reinforced with this stuff. It's just too easy. I don't know why the human condition is it seems almost easier to go negative than it is to go positive. It really takes discipline or focus, as you were talking about earlier, to keep at it. And I think setting your expectations that it's not going to happen overnight, but this is a process, and sometimes it takes time. But I think it's individual too. Some people seem to pick it up faster than others, and then some people it doesn't go fast enough, so they get frustrated and they drop it. So I think it's good to hear this again. This is an excellent series. I think we're starting here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to start it. People, whoever was delightfully overzealous and called before our show, please call back in. we weren't ready to take calls yet, but we would love to talk with you. So, and anybody who wants to call in, the phone number is
202. Yeah, 202-559-7943. That's 202-559-7943. And we also want to do a shout out to the folks in the YouTube chat room. And if you have a question, maybe you want to text it instead of calling in, we'll be more than happy to relay the question. So we're going to be taking calls, like Nori said, I guess the second half of the show. So you can leave your questions in the chat room too. That'd be great.
Yeah. So we're talking about law of attraction. And law of attraction is undeniably tied to the law of vibration because everything vibrates. Every single thing vibrates. Every single thing is energy. So if you consider that your thoughts are energy, that's where we get to dial in our frequency. And here's the trick. If you here's where feeling ties into the thoughts. If you're like, oh my God, I can't monitor my thoughts every moment of the day. No, you can't. But you can notice how you're feeling. And if you're not feeling good in any given moment, if you look at what you're thinking and dial your thought to a different place, dial your thought to a different station, you're going to feel better. So that's why Tom always says, you're always talking about feeling, Nora. You're always talking about feeling. That's why I'm talking about feeling. Feeling is my barometer. Feeling is my guide for where I want to direct my thoughts. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, what you just said right now really need to be said again, because it's so important. We have now, science is showing us that we live in a mind-created universe. And when it says mind-created, that means that what is in our mind is what we're going to have in our life. And there's an old saying, where the attention goes, your energy flows. And you attract what you are. So let's keep that in our mind. And whenever we have negative thoughts or positive thoughts, keep in mind that that is what we will start drawing to us. And if we want harmony and love, then we need to be harmony and love. So that's my 2 cents.
Right.
A friend of mine shared with me an anecdote one time about she was involved in Weight Watchers. And she said a really good rule they gave them at the time, and I don't know if this is still current or not, but this is what I heard a while back. And they said, well, if you fall off, the kind of teachings about, losing weight and whatnot, what should you do? They said, try to get back on with the very next bite. And that is that we're all going to fall off track on this from time to time. Life comes at us, but we're only one thought away from getting back on track.
Exactly. And that's such a good point, because in the class that I'm teaching in January, Body, Mind, Spirit, and Soul Fusion, Body Transformation, it's all about law of attraction, and it's all about hypnosis, and it's all about developing your balance so that you're creating the life and the body that you want. So if you fall off, just get back on, because how many people have, tried to wrench in a really restrictive diet and they've fallen off it, and it was so painful that they're like, oh, forget it. I already fell off, so I might as well just, go to the buffet. So the beautiful thing about law of attraction, this is what Abraham Hicks says, is that we never get it done and we never get it right. And even if we launch an intention for this thing that we want, the law of attraction shows you that it's about being happy in the journey that actually brings it sooner. So we have a caller, area code 614. Hello.
Hey, hi, Nori. It's Carl Gruber.
Hey, Carl. Hi.
Hi.
So good to talk with you. So Carl is one of my law of attraction coaching friends, and I've been on his show. Carl, what's your show?
It's called World Awakenings, the Fast Track to Enlightenment, a podcast I've been doing. I've got 7 episodes so far, and I'm so grateful to have you on, but I'm loving this show today. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks. So give us some of your wisdom about law of attraction, because, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys are doing a pretty darn good job, and I think what I like is what both Augie and Tom have said so far. We need to hear this again, and we need to hear this again, and we need to hear this again, because, Nori, as you know, people we run into in everyday life will say, oh, yeah, that happened because of the law of attraction. They go, the law of what?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so good to repeat it, and even as practitioners and students of the law of attraction, we need to do it, remember it and talk about it ourselves, because, I go through my day and I'll come home feeling like a grump, and I'll realize I'm completely out of alignment with all of that. And because we now have the knowledge of how the law of attraction works, oh, wait, I can pivot on a dime and change my mind and change my emotions. And I love how you focused on emotion and feeling. That is so important with the law of attraction.
Right, right. So how many of us were raised on thinking that emotion, especially negative emotion, was a bad thing? And I mean, rightfully so. Because I mean, when I was a little girl and hormonal, I mean, I could go into a crying jag for a really long time, and that was really painful. So yeah, those things are uncomfortable. But if we begin to think about negative emotion differently and recognize that negative emotion is just a tap on the shoulder from our angel or our intuition or God saying, hey, you know that thing that you really, really want? You know that way that you really, really want to feel? You know that life that you really, really want to live? It's over there, and you're headed in this direction. So what the negative emotion is telling us is that instead of being closer to FM 101, we're now down like at FM 79. So we need to dial our thinking and dial our frequency back up. And you're probably like, well, how do I dial it up? This is ridiculous. The best way to dial it up, or to know that you can dial it up, is to just stop focusing on whatever was making you feel bad. You can only think one thought at a time and feel one feeling. So if you shift your focus to, oh, wow, look how cute my dog is. Oh, I forgot I bought those sunflowers. Look how yellow they are. Oh my God, you know what? I love that I hung that window treatment. If you begin to shift your thoughts to just little things like that, it raises your vibration from the negative emotion that cued you in that you were making a detour.
Well, Nori, I love your example of the FM frequency. Since I work in public radio here in the Columbus, Ohio market, I'm stuck right at 90.5 FM. But
well,
no,
we love.
but that's a great example, because I mean the way I talk about that is, the modern millennials may not be able to relate to this, but there used to be radios with a dial. You didn't have a push button to go from one end to the other. So, and that's a great example. So if you're at an 89.7 FM and you want to go to 107.9, you actually had to take the time to turn that knob all the way to the other end of the dial. And that is how the energy and law of attraction work. If you've been vibrating at 89.7 for a long time, and let's use that as on the negative energy end of the energy scale, it takes a while. It takes a while to change your resonation in alignment to that 107.9 super positive end of the dial. So you have to be patient, but you have to keep at it.
Right. But every time we edge up, right, we inch up just a little bit closer, we feel better. So if we keep following the next thought that feels better and feels better and feels better, then before we know it, we're going to be there. And then sometimes, right, you could have such negative emotion that the momentum of the negative emotion is too big that you're like, I can't even find the stupid dial, never mind dial it up. So on those days, it's good to take a nap, go to a movie, just totally distract yourself. If you're in pain or in despair and you feel like you can't even remember what a good feeling thought feels like, it's okay. That will pass. You just need to hit the reset button.
Yeah, and for me, going for a daily run is my reset button. It always gets me even. But the one thing that as far as people resonating out of alignment with what they want in the law of attraction is, unfortunately, because still the majority of the world has no clue on this stuff. Although like I talk about, the world is awakening to this more and more than ever. Unfortunately, there are many, literally in the millions, maybe tens of millions of people who stay resonating on the low end of the spectrum, out of alignment, never knowing they have the ability to change that resonation. And that's why shows like yours and my podcast are here to help them awaken, to know that they have the power to awaken and move to the high end and the peak of their energy and their how to use the law of attraction.
Exactly. And this is a time where people are, awakening to new possibilities. This is a time, and, there's a lot of things going on. Just like I mentioned, that when I fell into the arms of Abraham Hicks, I was at a really low vibration. I was at the low end of the spectrum, and I had a lot of contrast in my life. So if you just consider everything that's going on just for a nanosecond, that's contrast. So when we have contrast, or when we have negative emotion, that's the best time. That's the inspiration that makes us go, you know what? I want to create something better than this. So I love that you highlighted that this is important right now.
I think also.
And Nora, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I think also it's very important to consider who we associate with, because there is also an old saying that we will become like the people we associate with. We should associate up. We should associate with people that is at 101 FM. And if we are finding ourselves around people that is energy vampires, and I guess that's a term that is kind of shown up in the last decade or so, but the people that we know is way below us in vibration, we should seek other people to associate with. And I think that is more important than most people think. That includes family even. If there is a family member that is really not quite there where you would, way down below you in the vibrational scale, you can still love them, but love them at a distance.
Right. And I mentioned to you guys, I didn't tell everybody else, that Abraham Hicks, so Esther Hicks channels a group of collective energies called Abraham, and she goes around the world and has seminars, and many of us have been to the seminars. And I actually was in the hot seat one day in right outside of DC, actually. And I was right at the pivot point where a relationship was about to be ending. And I sat in the hot seat and I said, I have all of these, I have this great stuff going on, this and this and this and this and this and that. I said, but I think that I'm vibrating like from a victim consciousness, because every time I go to a party or I go to a gathering, inevitably somebody will sit on my fiance's lap or try to kiss him. And you know what Abraham said to me? This was pivotal. Abraham said, "We think you need new friends."
That's great.
So it
Brilliant.
was great. So I was where I needed to be, but that funny little, interlude that we had was pivotal for me, because it made me realize that I had changed my vibration so much that it was time to make a change. And when I walked out of that seminar, the colors were brighter, the sounds of the birds were more vibrant, and I literally went home and I ended the relationship. And it was the best thing I ever did in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
What I think comes out of this too? I think something that might help people too is there is a certain knowing to this. It's not about whether believing in religious constructs. You go through kind of religious ladders of belief and hoping that you're going to attain this or that in a religion. There's no religious thing to this. It's kind of a knowing that it's working whether you believe it or not, and that there is kind of a relief. One of the pictures in my head is this 51% scale tipping to the right towards positivity, that all it takes is just that one little penny on the scale to kind of tip the scale 51% to the right, and you're on your way. And so it really doesn't matter at what point, like you were talking about earlier, how you just kind of keep moving in that direction, where you just keep throwing another penny on and it keeps tipping to the right. Another penny, you just keep throwing another one on and it keeps tipping. It's that 51% versus positive and negative that we can move towards. So that's one of the things that kind of impressed me about it, was I didn't have to believe it. It wasn't about believing, it's more about knowing.
Right, right. And we have just a couple of minutes before the break, but wait, do we break at the half hour or the top of the hour?
Half hour. Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to read the formal, from a definition from one of the Abraham Hicks books that I got. It's the law of attraction. The law of attraction demonstrates how we create the things, events, and people that come into our lives. Our thoughts, feelings, words, and action produce energy, which in turn attract like energies. So very basically, negative energy attracts negative energy, and positive energies attract positive energies. That's very basic.
Makes perfect sense.
It does, right? And then I'm just going to read the law of vibration, then we'll go to break. Everything in the universe moves. It vibrates and it travels in circular patterns. The same principles of vibration in the physical world apply to our thoughts, our feelings, our desires, and the wills in the etheric world. Each sound, each thing, and even thought has its own vibrational frequency, unique unto itself. So with that, let's just take a quick break. It's probably going to be 3 or 4 minutes, and we're going to hear some great commercials actually for our sponsors, and we'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes.
There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice. I walk through this dark age we're in with open eyes. Listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com. And together, maybe we won't stumble and fall.
Data. The sensors can't penetrate the planet's ionosphere. There's too much interference. Can you find a way to scan for life forms?
I would be happy to, sir. I just love scanning for life forms. Life forms. You tiny little life forms. You precious little life forms. Where are you?
Even the ETs know this is the place to be. L&M Radio Network.
You can listen to the L&M Radio Network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through the Paranormal Radio app. Available from lnmradionetwork.com or TalkStreamLive.com on both Android and Apple. Our call to listen line is open 24/7. Dial 701-719-9704 so you can listen on the go.
Ever wanted to be sure your robot slave was behaving? Is Echo getting out of control and meeting with Alexa when you're not around? You need RoboGrog. RoboGrog is the new product from Snooze You Lose, the company that also brought you the fine products of Flog a Horse and Calm You Down Now. RoboGrog will put your robotic minions to sleep, bringing their AI a sense of peace and comfort. It does this by sending bolts of electricity straight where the sun doesn't shine. Get RoboGrog today at any fine retailer and set yourself free from the devices that bind you.
You can't just throw someone into prison and silence their warning because you don't agree with them. You don't have to like my methods or what I stand for. Silencing me won't make the problem go away. It will just whittle away at the ability of people to be ready for the real threats. And when the worst happens, and it will, maybe you can take comfort in protecting the people from a dangerous radical who wanted to tell them the truth.
Tired of searching for great talk and great information? Look no more. L&M Radio Network, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Back home, there's a growing pro-Earth movement. Rumors of hate groups targeting aliens. And on all sides, the fanatics think that society has to be protected against anyone who's different. I'm starting to wonder if what we just saw is a preview of things to come.
No, I can't believe they'd be that foolish.
Santayana. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Alrighty. Broadcast Team Alpha is back, and we just went to break there for a minute. Right before we went to break, we kind of touched on the aspects of religion and how that might affect our thinking, and that the concepts here that we're sharing today in this whole series, these do not conflict with anybody's religious structures. If you're Christian, it doesn't really matter, Buddhist, whatever. In fact, these principles are expressed in all the major faiths. So think of this as a reinforcement of things that you've probably heard a little bit differently. Wouldn't you say, Nori?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, when I was really participating in mainstream religion, you know, I had a hard time trying to figure out exactly how it fit in, you know, especially because there was things like, you know, are you taking God's power away by setting an intention? But once I really dug into it, I mean, Jesus said, ask and it is given. Ask believing and it is given. And we have in mainstream religion. Yeah, I had a hard time trying to. Caller, could you please turn your radio down? We have a caller, and you just heard me echo because the caller had their radio up. Okay, so but I found I was able to look at it when I really got to the crux of it. I realized that if God loves me the way that everything says God loves me, and God wants me to create a life for myself, then God gave me this tool, which is the law of attraction. So it does not conflict with the Christian belief. So caller 845, who do we have here?
Hi, Nora. It's Judy.
Hi, Judy. How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you guys?
Oh, my goodness. It's so good to hear you. Excellent. So you are like right on time, because we were talking about how the law of attraction doesn't conflict with religion and with spiritual beliefs. And Judy is an amazing healer and law of attraction specialist.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. So what do you think, Jude? What do you think about law of attraction related to religion?
Well, I think if you stick to the third dimensional beliefs about religion, you're certainly not going to be attracted to law of attraction. Mm-hmm. I think when you start to question and you start to look outside of the third dimensional man-made religion, then you may have a little bit of an inkling to look at law of attraction. I have to tell you, when I came to law of attraction, it was in 2007. And the first thing that one of my very good Christian friends said to me was, well, you can't intend. What? God has to take care of what happens to you. You don't get to choose. So I think there's a big block there in a lot of people. But as you also mentioned, there are a lot of people that are awakening up, but there are a lot of people that still have no idea what the law of attraction or universal laws are. And I think when you allow yourself to study and understand and accept it on your own level, not on somebody else's level, but on your own level, that it will make an amazing difference in who and what you are in this time, space, and dimension.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And Judy is one of the most amazing, prayerful, Christ-conscious facilitators that I know. I mean, really.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is coming from good source. Absolutely. Oh, I love that.
But
in my opinion, go ahead.
Yeah, I also remember though, I'm one of those people that actually have read the Bible, a while back, and I remember that in Psalms, there is an answer in Psalms, because you said that in the Christian religion they will question the what we're talking about here, but in Psalms it says that yes, ye are gods. So in other words, it says right there, we are gods. We are part of that God energy, or God, if you want to call it in religious terms. So yes, God can actually make the decisions, and we make our own decisions by attracting. So I think there is support for that.
Augie, that is the weirdest thing. I was about to say the exact same quote. So that is synchronicity, my friend. I just pasted you the link to that. That's right. Absolutely.
On top of that, under John, it says that the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not above you, not some place in the Pleiades or some place out in space. No, it's within you.
You're right, Augie.
I love that. And the way that I was able to, like Judy said, right, to make it my own and to learn it in my time and in my way, the way that I took all of that and reformatted it was that I'm just a little spark of the Creator expressing on the planet. So I am empowered by God to express my life the way that I want to. And of course I want to do it, in divine flow. And that helped me to mitigate the other things about the Bible that, kind of felt restrictive.
I think some of these things are in plain sight inside the, like as our caller said, that the third dimensional view of it. A lot of these things are known to people, but they are so downplayed and squashed that they're not really seeing it in the same essence. Is that the word I'm looking for? They're not really kind of catching it. It's right there.
Right. And
amazing. You guys are doing such a great job, because I agree that we, even as light workers, law of attraction believers, whatever you want to call ourselves, we have to be reminded every single day, every single thought, that all these things are true, because we live in that dualistic society out there that doesn't. And to be able to stay firm in who you are as a believer of the law of attraction, you have to physically mentally and emotionally watch exactly what you're thinking and who you're hanging with. And I think it was Aggie mentioned the people you hang with. I've always believed that if you look at your 5 closest friends, that's going to tell you a lot about your life.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And like Augie was talking about, and this may be timely for the holidays coming up, the best way to get away from somebody, the best way to get away from somebody who you feel is not the same vibration as you, is to look at their qualities. Because the more that we focus on the things that we don't like about them, the more that we are joining their energetic frequency. So when we look at all of, right? When we look at all of, look at the things that we love about them and that's good about them, our vibration is going to go up, and either those people are going to raise their vibration or they're going to fall out of your now moment. And we have another caller. Yay. Area code 702. 702, welcome to the show. 720, forgive me. Dyslexia in action.
Hi, Nori. It's Nicole.
Hey, Nicole. Oh, my goodness. How much fun is this today? Wow.
Hi, Augie.
Hey.
So good. So
you guys are doing a great show.
Thank you. We're talking about the law of attraction, and we were just talking about how law of attraction doesn't limit or inhibit or infringe upon other people's religions. And then we were just talking about how if you want to change the people that are in your life or the conditions in your life, how not focusing on the bad aspect of it is not the answer, that the answer is to look at all of the good things.
Yeah, I feel like the people in your life who aren't meant to be there because the vibrational match isn't the same anymore is going to show up as you raise your frequency, and people will just naturally start to fall away from your life. Like events will be created or things will happen through the way the universe is responding to your frequency, that those things just start to naturally happen. And sometimes they're a little like painful because, you know, we're not used to losing certain people in our lives. But, you know, for myself, I have to say that as soon as I really made a conscious choice to just work on raising my vibration and doing everything that I know through meditation, diet, anything that I could think about, that really, I not only did I attract incredible people of the same kind of frequency into my life, but the people who weren't matching just started to naturally fall away.
Exactly. And that reminded me of when I drove to California. I set my intention and I set my energy and I set my frequency on a lovely, expedient, uneventful trip. And when I finished my journey, my best friend would text me the news. And she would show where when I was in Texas, I just missed a hurricane, like I was 5 miles away from it. And when I was in another part of the planet, I just missed a tornado. And that's how law of attraction works. So we have other people on the line. We have 845-406 and 720. So that's Carl, Judy, and Nicole. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. The producer is just reminding me. So simply put, right, the law of attraction is the ability to attract into our lives whatever we're focusing on. And the old thing that we heard for many years is that thoughts eventually turn into things. So what if we focus on doom and gloom, then I would have ended up in that tornado. If we focused on doom and gloom, I would have stayed in the abusive marriage. So instead of looking at all of the things that I don't want, I looked at the good aspects of the situation, and then I shifted my focus to what I do want. So, Nicole, do you have any manifestation examples you could give us where the law of attraction worked for you? Or
Yeah, actually, something really cool just happened the other day, and I feel like the law of attraction, it's all about frequency, and as long as your frequency is in a higher vibration, so if you're focused on your joy, if you're focused on laughter, love, just any of those higher frequencies, then you'll start attracting the things that resonate within that frequency into your life, and you may not even know what those are. Like there may be some really awesome things that show up in your life that you weren't even anticipating, but it's just because you're really it's the vibrations, everything's frequency. And so for myself, we're constantly, I think part of the law of manifestation is also understanding the subconscious, because many times we can be practicing law of attraction techniques, whether it's through changing our belief system, changing the way we're thinking, but we don't pay attention to the underlying thoughts within the subconscious that can actually destroy a lot of our hard work without us, it sabotages our work without us even being aware of it. And a lot of times I feel like that's one of the issues where people are like, well, I think I'm doing everything right. And it's that subconscious that's kind of really kind of screwing things up. And I had caught myself the other day thinking about something that I could catch myself going into an old subconscious programming of basically doubting someone. And I was doubting, I could see myself doubting them. And all of a sudden I was paying attention to my thoughts, and my thoughts were going into doubt. And I quickly switched and I said, no, I totally believe in this person. I absolutely believe in this person. And I know that they're going to come through. And sure enough, within like minutes, a text from them came through the phone. And it was like this beautiful message and in total relation to what I was just thinking. And so it was really cool that, just to pay attention to that underlying, that little voice in the background, that when we're not still, we don't hear it. I think that's really important.
That's so good. And if you have a subconscious belief that's playing out in your life and you don't know it, it will make itself known to you, right?
Mhm.
Mhm. But
Absolutely.
I love how quickly that worked for you.
Yeah, it was really fast. I was like, wow, you guys are making it really known that I'm on the right path here. So it was very quick confirmation, which was great.
Yeah, but
then again, when you're able to switch into that high vibration, and you know what that feels like you were talking about in the beginning, the feeling of it, that frequency moves so fast. And so I feel like you get the answers really fast, whether they come in whatever format they show up in. And so that was just really cool.
Exactly. And that's okay. So that's when you've practiced it enough to know what it feels like. And, in order to know what it feels like, you have to figure out what it feels like not to be in alignment. And that's going to be the things that are uncomfortable. So, and that's the law of polarity. So we're eventually going to tie all of these universal laws together, because the law of attraction is only one of them, but it is the most powerful. So that's why we wanted to talk about it. So while you're learning to dial up your frequency, while you're learning to raise your vibration, you need something to compare it to. Right? You can't make the decision that you love being a millionaire if you have nothing to compare it to, if you don't have a less than millionaire experience to compare it to. So we have another caller, area code 254.
That's me, Nori. It's Rafi. How are you?
Hey, Rafi. Nice to hear from you.
I'm so excited. I had this all totally confused. I thought I was doing video, and I'm sorry I didn't come in at the very beginning, but I'm very happy to be here with you guys. And what I've heard so far, I don't know the name of the lady that was just talking, but everything she said, Nicole, just resonates. And what I wanted to add, and I don't know if she's already mentioned this, was that in the lack of consciousness and also in programming, it's very hard to manifest when you have so many layers and layers and layers of belief system that it's given to you by the outside source. And removing those and going through a deep transformation is probably paramount to manifesting and understanding and applying the laws of attraction. I don't know if that was already discussed.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay. And I would like to come from that. I've been teaching for 35 years. Mm-hmm. And the hardest thing is to focus on the fact that everything that we have been taught and everything that we have learned also comes from the perspective, consciousness of another person. Just imagine yourself as a baby where everything is taught to you. And then sometimes there are those moments when you tell an adult or teach an adult something that comes from your own internal universe. And we say to them, no, that's not how it is. And that's not how it works. And then we totally tear down that paradigm. Everything that we think about and everything that we do comes from a divine paradigm. But we don't honor that because we have been kind of put it in a box where we're not even using a whole percentage of our brain. So manifesting, the first thing I feel that a person has to realize is that you can't hold on to anything that you think you know. You have to come into this consciousness like a baby. But a lot of people will stop to dispute, no, it's like this, and no, it's like that, and then that already puts a blanket on not being able to pull the things that you need for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Wow. We've got a couple more callers and we're running out of time. So we'd like to, I really appreciate you calling.
Rafi, thank you so much.
Wonderful.
You're welcome.
We've got 2 more callers and we're having a little trouble trying to figure out who came in. I believe it was, looking at the numbers here. There's an 845 caller. Are you there?
Yes, but this is Judy.
You already got your question in. Then there was another one from
I'm fine.
406.
Thank
Are you there? The caller from 406?
I think that was Carl.
Okay. And then there's another caller from I'm sorry?
406 is Michael.
Hey, Michael. How are you today, sir?
I am substantially above average. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Doing great. So it would help us a little bit. We're having some issues with the audio. If the folks that have already called in, if you guys could hang up and listen to the show on the air, on the live stream on the YouTube and or on the station would be great.
But not Michael, right?
Michael, keep going. Yes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So what was your question, sir, or comment?
I don't have a question. I don't have a comment either. I congratulate you.
Oh, Michael Sahili.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Hi.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
I congratulate you for this fantastic platform that you have created here with Nori. Awesome.
And I have to tell you guys, Michael Sahili is a law of attraction master, and he specializes in financial abundance. And Michael, it's just so great to have your vibration here with us. Yay.
Thank you so much, Nori. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored and humbled.
Thank you, Michael. We appreciate you calling in. We're honored. So,
Michael and I share a love of ASEA, which we'll have to do a show about one day together, Michael.
Great. That's excellent. We have one caller left then. We have a caller at 254, I think.
I'm still here.
Okay,
it's
so
Rafaela.
we caught everybody. And actually, we're at the very end of our show. And we want to thank all of you for calling in, everybody that's contributed. This has been a fantastic show. And we want to invite you to come out to the website, learn a little bit more about us at broadcastteamalpha.com. And there are all of our links, all of our prior shows are there. So you can, listen to our previous shows and learn a little bit more about us. Nori, did you have anything you wanted to wrap with?
Wow.
Thank you, Nori.
Thank you, everybody, for calling in. Thank you. So I'm just going to wrap with Abraham Hicks, who mentioned that if we only spend 17 seconds of focusing our attention on a subject that makes us feel better, we will shift our vibration to match that subject. So the next time you meet with anything that knots your gut up or anything that makes you angry, anything that makes you sad, just know that if you spend 17 seconds thinking about something that feels better, you're going to shift your vibration. Thank you so much, everybody, for the outpouring of amazing energy. Thank you all.
Thank you. Sending love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Tom?